Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly update for December 13th, 2020. Oh, so this last week was not a bad week. It wasn't a great week. It was a long week. It was just a long, full week of work, you know, that kind of thing. Just because the weather's starting to get, you know, more grumpy and it's getting more wet and stuff, which is normal for Oregon. That's nothing new. It's just, you know, colder stuff, and of course the whole getting darker really early kind of is annoying. Anyway, but I made it through the week. I actually read quite a few things. I'm actually surprised at how much I got through. But I do find that there is a correlation that if I finish a lot of books, I also buy a lot of books. I'm not sure where this, in my mind, where this makes sense, is that when I finish a book, I feel like I can buy books, which doesn't make any sense because I have so many books at home. I'm not quite sure. And it doesn't matter if it's my book or a library book. Anyway, I just noticed that again. I've noticed that in the past. Anyway, so, as I said, really overall this week was pretty good. As I said, it was a good reading week for me, kind of surprisingly, with just the way the last couple weeks have gone. And I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do in the next week. So we're going to talk about the books that I read, which are, I think I finished 5 things, and then what I'm in the middle of, and then what I think I'm going to read, sorry, my eye itches, into the next week. And as I said, this is really foggy for me. A lot of times, sometimes I kind of know, but I've had a really weird reading week, as I said, when it comes to things. So the first book I finished was The Splendor Falls by Susannah Kearsley. I think I started this on Saturday. So I read a lot of it on Sunday and then finished on Monday. Oh, I just love this book. This was so much fun. It is not one of my favorite ones because it doesn't have, oh God, Cooper. Anyway, it does not have the dual timeline as much as I was hoping. There's a few scenes from the past, from different eras, from, I think the 14 or 1500s. I can't remember for sure which, or maybe it's even earlier than that. And then France, and then it's also World War II. There's a scene or two from that. There just wasn't enough for that. I love her dual timelines when they're much more there's a much more connection, and there's much more kind of a magical element to it. There wasn't quite as much of that here, but the mystery was really good. I mean, it was very slow pace and very atmospheric, and I don't know why Cooper is so enamored suddenly with my dinosaur. Dude. No, you can't go back there. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, so I really liked this book, but I just didn't love it. I liked the characters. The main character, Emily, she is talked into going to France, to Chillon, with her cousin. Her cousin is kind of flighty, so he doesn't show up, even though he promised he would pick her up at the train station when she got there. And she's going to be there for 2 weeks. And so she's like, well, I'm just going to enjoy my vacation, even if he's not here. Because that's typical. He's a historian, but he's very much in his own world. And so she starts meeting people while she's there, and she stays at a hotel that has some other people who are visiting from other places and stuff. And of course, it's just kind of all getting to know the people there and her interactions with them, and then the kind of the mysteries of the town, and because there's a chateau where there had been a siege, you know, hundreds of years before, which we kind of saw a little bit of. So, yes, Cooper, I love you. Yes, I know, okay? Anyway, I really enjoyed this. So overall, and again, there's always a thread of romance in it, but it's so very light. But I love the way it was in the end, because I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work, and I might have guessed there was a murder and stuff. So I kind of guessed, but I wasn't quite sure. So I was still, you know, I was very good up until the very end, and there was a really sad moment in there, and I was crying because I love that character. Something bad happened, but I'm not going to talk about what, because that's a spoiler. But it was just like, oh, hurt. But I really like that. So I definitely have to make sure I prioritize next year to read more Susannah Kearsley. I only read 2 of hers this year. I am way behind. I think that's now only the 4th or the 5th one I've read. I think that's the 5th one. The 4th one I've read, I think. I don't know. 5th? No, 5th. one I've read. So I have quite a few to read, and I have all of them. So I need to read them. I then read my library book of nonfiction of Who We're Reading When We're Reading Murakami by David Karashima. So this was really, like, this was one of those ones I saw this, where did I see this? I'm not quite sure, but I put it on my library hold list, and I'd had it on my wish list, and I just didn't buy it when it came out, because I wasn't sure I was going to like it. And it was because it's a nonfiction talking about how Haruki Murakami, who wrote the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, how he kind of came to have international fame, and it was a lot through translation. So because, again, he was really popular in Japan, but to have him have a cross appeal to around the world, people had to translate him. So this was really the story of how the translations of his work came about, and how the passions of those translators kind of actually helped him gain fame, or gave him a step into gaining fame for masses to read his books over the years. And because Wind-Up Bird Chronicle was my first Murakami that I read, I either read it in 2000 or I have to look back. I was going to do that and I totally forgot. But I read it like a couple years after it came out in translation, because I got it in paperback when I was working at Walden Books. Does anybody remember Walden Books? Anyway, so I bought it there because it was I knew people who had bought that there and had said it was good. And so that was kind of my first journey into his book. And of course, this book was talking about from his earlier books to Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, and the publication order, and why the English, of course, was different from, because he had already written quite a few books in Japan, and why certain books were picked and ones weren't at the time. And so it was really fascinating to see the public. We were following translators and editors and agents and people who had this connection to getting the books from translation into English. And it was really, I just found it very fascinating. Again, I am definitely one of those people who like half of Murakami's books and don't like the other ones. I just had a bad reaction with the last one I read. I liked most of it except for a couple of scenes that ruined it for me. But Wind-Up Bird Chronicle is still one of my favorites. And then they talk about a couple of the older ones, which were also, I really, really enjoyed them when I read them the first time. And I've never reread him. And it's definitely something, once I catch up and I finally read the last two that I need to read, well, actually I have three. Well, okay. Well, the two first really old ones that I still haven't decided if I'm going to read his first two books. And then I have the two really big ones that I haven't got to, IQ 84 and Killing Commodore. I do want to try to read those in the next year. So we'll see. I want to get to the end. I want to finish up, catch up on all the novels, and then maybe can reread some of the old ones and see if I still like the old ones as much as I did 20 years ago. So anyway, this is definitely something for if you like Murakami's work, or want to see about books in translation coming from being popular in their country, and then somebody being there who can translate from that language into English, and see how that can be a big component to get them to be published in another language, especially at this time, because back in the 90s it was a lot harder translated works to make that, or works from other countries to make that transition. And again, he was a really big part of making it much more easier for us to now have a lot of books in translation compared to what it was back then. At least that's what it sounds like and what I got from that. But really it was just the journey. And again, we have Murakami kind of making comments too, and it's really good. He shows how people don't remember everything, because again, this was over 20 years ago. And it's really interesting how some of the editors and some of the translators, they have different memories, and then someone else will say, no, it happened like this, and they'll be like, oh yeah, they were right, I was wrong, maybe that was that time, I didn't remember that. And it was really interesting. And I'm really glad I got it from the library. I actually would probably pick this up and buy it if I found a really cheap copy, because it was very fascinating. I'm really glad I read that. Then it was one of those things where I wasn't sure what to read, so I decided to take a chance on that second book of the Bridgerton series. This is the Viscount Who Loved Me. I don't know how you say that. Never mind. Anyway, point is, this is book 2. It follows The Duke and I. So The Duke and I I really loved the beginning of that book, but I hated the second half. Like, it was just like, what is this? And this, not the same. This book was much more, overall a great story, and I didn't have quite as many issues with it. Again, there's always going to be, because of it's a romance, there's a couple of little miscommunications, but this one was solved much quicker than some of the, like the Duke and I had real problems with that. But this one was much more rounded. That way I liked the way it went. I love the main character, Kate. She was just, I loved her. And there was an awesome scene in the middle between her and Anthony. I loved it. It was just funny. I laughed out loud several times during this, and so I really enjoyed it. And I'm really glad that I took the chance to read the second book, because a lot of people had said, well, the first book maybe not be as good, but continue in the series. So I did. So I'm really glad I did. Anyway, so that was just fun. I mean, and I really enjoyed that and read that in a couple of days. Then I picked up Little Witches by Magic in Concord by Lee Rugen. So this is a friend of mine who did this. This is a reimagining of Little Women, but as the women, the sisters are all witches, and it's got this magical element, which is cool, and it's kind of like an event. It's kind of a little mystery of a lot of things are going missing, and everybody's kind of getting angry and stuff about someone stealing everything. So magic is kind of like, they know it's there, but it's kind of frowned upon in some ways, and she changed some things that were, you know, to make it more modern, and I liked that. I again have never finished Little Women, so I probably didn't catch all the nuances because I had just never been able to make myself read that book. But I've watched the movies back in the day, so I mean, not the new one, but like before. So anyway, but I really enjoyed it. So I think she does really great with her drawings, and I just really, it was really, the sisters were done really well, I think, as in their different personalities and how they interact with each other. I thought it was really well done, so I really enjoyed it. So it was really nice, and I enjoyed it. And then yesterday I had to go mail the Christmas presents to my parents, just in case we don't go. We're still in that decision of, we're not sure we're going to see them, because again, we did not go to Thanksgiving. My brother and I might be here again by ourselves, so my parents had sent us our gifts here, and then I had to go to the post office, and it took an hour for me to get through the line to mail my one box, but that's fine. But because the one I went to was 2 blocks from the used bookstore that I like to go to, called Jan's Paperbacks, I of course parked my car near the bookstore, because there was no parking at the post office. It's a really small parking lot. So I was like, well, I'll just go park by there, and then so yeah, I went and bought some books. Anyway, not too many, I only bought 2. But the one I bought was actually the 3rd book in the Bridgerton series, An Offer from, sorry, we all know where I was going with that. An Offer from a Gentleman by Julie Quinn. So again, this is the 3rd book, so this follows Benedict and Sophie, and I really enjoyed this one. This is definitely a Cinderella themed romance, so it was fun how she twisted it and things, and how that went. But it's very light, like it's not, so of course she has an evil stepmother. So she was evil. I definitely didn't like her. That was definitely well done on Julia Quinn's part. Definitely didn't like anything about her. And I liked the way it went. There were a few things that I was like, it's not the most, that wasn't the best thing for Benedict to say or do, but I think overall I liked this as well. I mean, again, I think of the 3 so far I've read, the Viscount Who Loved Me is still my favorite, I think, of the 3. But I did like this one. I know a lot of people think that this is their favorite, so I think the next one is also a favorite. But I really like this one so far. So anyway, but this one was good too. Again, I've given all of these 4 stars, but like this is a high 4 stars, while these other 2, this one and the Duke and I, were pretty low 4s. They're kind of 4s. Anyway, I don't know if I'm making any sense anymore, but the point is that I'm getting into the series, like, and I don't even have Netflix right now. My brother canceled it couple weeks ago because we only do it every once in a while and then we have a month and we watch it. So right now we have Disney Plus, so I have to get that back on my Xbox so that I can start watching The Mandalorian. Anyway, so I can't even watch the Bridgerton the series when it comes out, but I'll watch it next time we have Netflix. But I'm enjoying the books, and I don't think it's any surprise that I have some more of these coming in the mail. Anyway. Anyway, so those are all the books that I finished, which is 5 things, which I think I did really well for me. So, the book I am in the middle of that I kind of put it aside because it's A House to Let by Charles Dickens, Elizabeth Gaskell, Wilkie Collins, and another woman. I don't remember. Here it is. Adeline Ann Proctor, who I don't know. I've not read anything by her before. But this was a compilation that these 4 authors did back in 1858, I believe. And I think that's it's close to that time frame. And it was for Dickens's Household Words magazine. So it's like a story of a kind of a creepy house across the way from this older woman rents to come to town, and she has this house across the way that has the to let sign, and it's been abandoned for years. And so it's her and her people that she knows from her household and a friend of hers that know like what's going on with they like go out and find out what's going on with the property. So I only got it's only 70. I can't remember. Let's see here. Yeah, 72 pages, and I only got to 25 because I was kind of tired of the section I'm in because it was kind of weird. Anyway, well, not weird. It was just a weird little part of the story. I'm not sure. So I do want to finish this. I was on Instagram right now. It's like Dickens Christmas or something. I'm not quite sure. I follow a couple people on there who have every Christmas or every December they do a Dickens, and they did a Sherlock Holmes the first week, which I'd already read that short story, but I didn't join in. So this was a story I didn't know, so I wanted to join in this week, but of course I only read part of it and haven't finished it. So I'm hoping to finish it out today or tomorrow or in the next couple days. Again, I'll be done by the end of the month. I just need to read the last 50 pages. I just haven't. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. So then let's talk about what I'm going to read next. I have no idea. Let's be honest. So I do have 2 things that for sure I will read sometime this week. I did get volume 8 of The Girl from the Other Side by Nagambi. So this is a Japanese translated, manga, translated by Adrienne Beck. Yeah. So I've read them all from the library. This is volume number 8. So it takes months for me to get the next one because they only have 1 or 2 copies, and there's like always a wait list for this. So I'm already number 9 on the next one. I guess the number 9 came out. I don't know if it's the last one. Number 9 volume came out or is coming out or something, and it's on order. So I'm number 9, so that means it's going to be like, 6 months before I get it, but whatever. Anyway, so these are interesting. They're about a little girl who isn't affected by a disease that affects the outsiders and or people who are on the inside, who are in cities that are walled off, but if they go outside, somehow they contract some disease that changes them into different creatures. And so she somehow is immune, but we're not sure why. Well, I mean, there's things at the beginning. That was the very first. But anyway, so it's been really interesting. I don't even remember where I'm at on this because it's been like 4 or 5 months since I read the last one. So anyway, but I will get that done this week so I can give it back to the library so that the next person can have it because there's such a list for that. So I will do that. I am going to be re-listening to A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Again, the group that's doing A House to Let is doing the Christmas Carol, and they do always usually do a Dickens, and usually they do A Christmas Carol. And I'd already decided this year, because I didn't listen to it last year. I listened to it the year before. I listened to a Jim Dale audio on YouTube. And then, but I have a Tim Curry version that I downloaded at some point for free or really low price. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, so I wanted to listen to it last last Christmas, but my brother wouldn't let me put it on in the car when we drove to my parents' house. So I'm going to listen to it this week in the car. And again, it's not a super long novel, or it's a book. It's like 180, no, 100, no, 100 and, oh, it's 138 in my little edition here. So again, it's like 4-5 hours. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't very long. So I figure I can do that on my commute this week. So I'm going to be listening to that. And then I don't have a clue what I'm going to do. So what day was it? Well, it was, I think, Friday night after I finished the Viscount Who Loved Me. Between that and then the afternoon of Saturday, once I bought an offer from a gentleman, I tried several books. Like, I pulled 5 books off of my shelf to try to read, and my brain just wouldn't settle on anything. So I did. So it's a possibility I might pick up The Seeker by S.G. McLean. So this is 1454, and it's a mystery, and the Seeker is working for Oliver Cromwell's administration, and he is kind of the guy who checks on things, I guess, or is when problems pop up, he shows up. So again, I haven't read very much of it. I haven't even put it on Goodreads because I'm not sure if I feel like it right now. I've read it about 20 pages the other day, so I'm kind of we'll see. That's a possibility. Blackwing, the book 1 of the Raven's Mark by Ed McDonald. I really want to read this to get done with my 5-star predictions, but every time I pick this up, I go, no. And I think it's because I did not know this was going to be first person. And I don't know if it's all the time first person because I can't get out of the first chapter. So I've only read like 3 pages. So I just don't know if I'm not in a mystery, or a fantasy mood, or it's just I'm not clicking with the writing style. I'm not sure. So anyway, this is still hanging out there hoping to get this done because I really want to finish it so I can do another list for next year. But I don't know. And then I did also read about, I don't know how many, 22 pages in the Viscount de Bragelonne, which is book 3 in the D'Artagnan Romances, which is the Three Musketeers series. So this is book number 3, and I've been wanting to read this all year, but with COVID and the whole pandemic thing, it never felt like the right time to read this. And now I'm at the end of the year, I'm like, well, I haven't read one yet this year. So I do want to read this, because I do want to finish this series sometime. But I just haven't, I said, that day, I don't know, like, I think Saturday morning I read about the 20 pages. So I might pick this one up. It's huge, gigantic, yes I know, but it's also a book I really wanted to read by the end of this year. So we'll see. I'm hoping maybe. This is translated from the French by David Coward, and I can't remember what year this came out in. It's not going to tell me, is it? I don't remember, but I don't know. I think it was 1850s or so. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Anyway, but again, I do want to get that done. So I don't know if I'm going to pick up those or I'm going to pick up something else. I feel very disjointed right now. I'm not sure I want anything to mind, like, I want like light fluffy right now. I mean, the romances have been great, so I might pick up some other ones because I won't have the next book in the Bridgerton series until Tuesday night. And I'm like, I gotta read something between now and then. So I don't know. I'll have to find something. I don't know, unless you guys have a suggestion. I don't know. Or I might pick up one of these. I mean, again, I do want to read all these books. I mean, Blackwing is kind of dropping on my list here. I'm kind of getting a little worried because I can't even get into it. But I don't know. So we'll see. I'm not sure. So that's all I know about my reading. So anyway, and then this next week should be pretty busy at work. Thursday and Friday we have inventory. I'm not looking forward to that. Our parts inventory is gonna just, you count all the bolts and nuts, things, and bulbs and filters, and I'm just not looking forward to it. Anyway, so that'll be Thursday and Friday. So I'm guessing I probably won't read much on those days either because I'll just be too busy. Unless I'm able to listen to an audiobook while I still have Red Comet, which I didn't bring in here. I just put it on pause on the audiobook right now until I get back into it. I haven't been feeling like it. And that's kind of how that goes. So I think there's something else I was going to talk to you guys about, but I can't think of it right now. So anyway, so that's it. That's all that. I don't have another video planned yet this week. I'm still debating if I want to do my goals check-in from last year. I haven't watched that video yet. I'm kind of afraid to look at it because I don't remember what I said. It's been a year, and it's been a year. So we'll see. And so I don't know. So if you have any ideas of something you'd like beforehand, before the end of the year, I have been thinking about doing one of the, I've seen it a lot recently, is talking about the longest books on their TBR. You guys, I have a really big TBR and I have a lot of big books. Would you be interested in seeing something that was books that were like over 600 pages or over that? I don't know. I have quite a few books. I'd have to go back. I think if I did 500, this video would be like 40 minutes long. So I'm thinking if it's over 600, there might not be as many, but I don't know. I have a lot of books. So let me know if you would like to see that. And I think that's it. So I hope you guys have a great week. Let me know if you're reading anything good, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.